That's probably thousands of dollars that we found over time with businesses who we went in for three or four computers, but we just
Hmm.
happened to notice something else in the corner.
Going full circle back to our beginning of our conversation is not only did we kind of in Middle Tennessee start web, then when we were kind of done with web, you sold your company and I just basically gave up. I started doing estate sales, like just reselling, and I would see you all the time. And I remember
Yeah.
connecting. This is really before the e-waste got off. I had that vintage store with my wife.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, we both got into the reselling game. And I tell you what, the reselling background has helped me tremendously in that third step of selling because I knew how to use eBay. I knew how to wheel and deal with local marketplace folks, like selling. I think for individuals who don't know the internet or don't know how to use it properly, selling is the most intimidating part of this whole thing. And it's the most important because you can find it. It's everywhere, right? And you don't even have to be organized. You can throw everything in a box and someone's going to buy it disorganized. You're just not going to get a very good price on it.
Yeah.
But the selling step, that's when you got to clean things and list them right and all that stuff. So how do you decide what to resell and what to strip down for parts or bulk scrap? Are there any hard rules or anything like that or gut checks you have?
No rules yet. Something that I may not find interesting or valuable, I don't have the slightest little bit of curiosity about, may be the thing that is most valuable.
Mm,
And understanding that other people have different opinions, it's an important part of this. Yes, I could stick with what I know and what I'm
mhm.
uh, most knowledgeable about. And that would work really well. But we have such a variety of stuff that's coming through here.
Yeah.
I know I don't know enough about, heck, the computers, but luckily I work with someone who knows a lot more
Hmm.
about what's new versus what's old, what has a great demand, what has less demand. So, it's the entire team that contributes to saying, now that's cool. That's worth looking into.
Yeah.
It may just be a Google image search. Just
Sure.
don't trust the first thing that pops up because you'll get this stereo that's listed for $1,500.
Right. But it's been listed for 3 years. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
there's
Yeah.
that whole eBay research tool. You can find, oh, they've got 15 listed right now for $12 each.
Hmm.
Okay, so yeah, I do get excited about that first image that pops up.
You had mentioned demand, and we've been developing this thing called a BOLO list, which is just be on the lookout. We want to do BOLO alerts where any kind of newsletter subscriber or social media subscriber are going to be able to get these first. It's basically like a watch list for high value or trending items. What's on your BOLO list up there in Kentucky?
Oh, I wish we had one. I think we're so new to it. Everything is awesome. Um,
Right. Yeah.
I'm sure that what you have tripped across is you've got all these things and you know the value and they're kind of predictable on what you can get for it, either as for sale on Marketplace or eBay,
Hmm.
or the value if you tear it down. And then every once in a while, something surprises you, like a new board
Yeah,
happens
for
to
sure.
come in and you're like, where did all that gold come from? Or it could just be something vintage that you don't see much of. I'm on the lookout for anything and everything. I just happen to know that TVs aren't as valuable as I thought they were before.
Yeah.
Because I thought, hey, a circuit board is a circuit board, but um, nothing in particular. But I am surprised at how much gold is in some smaller electronics, phones, and things like
Hmm.
that.
Oh, yeah. I think an old Nokia phone from the 90s, 80s, we have a whole bin that we can kind of keep it separate. And as gold is going up, these per unit, just nobody's using these phones. Nobody wants them.
Yeah.
They're just gaining value. Where in our industry, if we have a laptop that's on the shelf and is not selling, that CPU is declining because new CPUs are coming out. Whereas these old stuff is just gaining price because of the precious metals. And then Bolo is also very trend kind of follows trends. And I remember really, I guess before the election, the stock market wasn't so up and down. Audio, video equipment, like the old brushed aluminum stuff, the stuff that yeah, our parents had when we were kids with the really nice tactile push buttons and stuff. They were selling for so much money. Like it doesn't matter if they worked or not. And now we've listed a couple of them and like we can barely sell them for 99 bucks. It kind of goes in trends, but Yeah, the most surprising thing that we ever found was a voice recorder from Japan, but it was all brushed aluminum and it was these tiny reel to reels. And it was probably this big, like 8 inches by 5 inches. And you just took off the case and there's these tiny little reels on it. And you would just hear a book court. And it sold for like almost $2,000. And I didn't even know if it started or not. I was like, I have no idea what battery goes into this. I just sold it as is. And I think we sold it for 18.99 or something like that. I
Oh,
should have priced it higher, you know what I mean? But like,
oh,
yeah.
be on the lookout for anything Cisco Meraki.
Okay.
Uh, we
Explain Meraki.
So Cisco is the company.
Hmm.
Meraki is, I guess, the newest wave of models. They're beautiful. You mentioned brushed aluminum.
Hmm.
Um, Beautiful devices. They look like they were made by Apple, Johnny Ive, and
Yeah. Yeah.
else. We got a call from a local business, and they had bought one of those big pallets. And the pallets that they were going after happened to have a lot of pet supply stuff on it.
Hmm.
And so they didn't know what to do with this. They stuck it on a shelf. Apparently, it had been caught on a container ship during COVID, and it took too long to get there. So somebody ordered it a different way. Well, this was put on a pallet. They put it in the top of their closet. They needed the top of their closet. So they called
Wow.
us. And this organization wanted us to pay for it. And we don't usually pay for stuff, but we made a sizable donation to say, thanks for thinking of us. And we really believe in your organization. And then I got it back and I was like, I didn't know much about Cisco. Keep in mind, we've only been
Hmm.
here for 6 months, and this was at least 2 or 3 months ago. And I
Right.
thought, we hit the jackpot. But then I found out about Cisco's licensing. You have to have software, you have to have a subscription in order to use some of these
Hmm.
things. Like, oh no, that really limits who we can sell it to. And so, for whatever reason, I sat on it. There were a couple of people who came through and saw it and went, "Ooh, I like that," including
Hmm.
a guy who happens to work for Cisco. He bought a few things because he knew the true value. We didn't get ripped off, but I'm sure he got a
Sure.
great value
Right.
from it. But he told us so much about it. He was able to look and see that it was unclaimed. So if it were claimed, it would be next to impossible, if not impossible, for
Right.
anyone to use it. But because it was unclaimed, yeah, that's one of those several $1,000 paydays
Sure. Yeah.
within 12 hours of listing it. Yeah, it was great. And then the person who bought the one thing said, "What else do you have?" I didn't even have time to list everything else. He
Hmm.
just, "What do you
Took it
have?"
all.
I
Yeah.
sent
Yeah.
something and we negotiated a little bit, but yeah, look out for Meraki stuff.
Okay. Good to
But
know. And so you let people kind of shop in your shop a little bit. Has that been the norm, or is that just a one-off?
it was a one-off then, but
Hmm.
we've been asked so many times. Uh,
Hmm.
Somebody comes in and they say, "Can you help me with my hard drive?" Well, yeah, we'll
Yeah.
get it out for you. And we've got a big hard drive crusher over here. It's fun.
Hmm.
I'll even let them do it. And so there was
Right. That's cool.
the Cisco guy and the lady who brought the stuff in. They were over there taking pictures of each other crushing hard drives. It was really, really neat. But
That's cool. Yeah.
he started to look around and saw it. So there's that just by
Yeah.
coincidence. He happened to be here. And then there are people. I was stopped literally on the street the other day walking in, and somebody said, "Hey, do you sell
Hmm.
refurbished computers?" Yeah. And so he asked about something in particular for his son, and yeah, he'll come shopping later on. We've
Nice.
got a big stack. I don't necessarily know what it is that he's looking for, but he'll describe it. We'll pull one out of the stack and see if it suits his needs. And if so, yeah, we'll sell it that way.
Yeah.
And there is, we've got a big bunch of stuff on a shelf up here that we're calling tech trades. We're going to have a
Hmm.
tech trade day. So the big warehouse that we're shutting down, we got, oh, how many? I think 700 monitors that
Hmm.
and we'll have. What are we going to do with 700 monitors? We'll
Yeah.
take,
Do they have HDMI ports on the back, or is it all old ports?
now some of them have HDMI, some of them have
Okay. That's
DVI.
really the kind of the cutoff for the market is it has to have HDMI.
Yeah. Well, and some are square and little,
Hmm.
some are widescreen, some are really good. I wouldn't call them for graphic design good. It's
Hmm.
not a, a MacBook's Retina display, but there's some really good monitors. And we thought, okay, we can sell a few of them, but what are we going to do with the rest of them? Because inside that board's not worth much. It takes
Mhm.
longer to take them apart
Yeah.
to get that board than there is value in them. So there are people who need monitors, right? And those people most likely have a little box of wires sitting around in their house.
Sure.
Well, come on, come get a free monitor. You can have
Yeah.
it because
Right.
you will save us money by just taking it away.
Sure.
And
Yeah.
sure, when it's time to be recycled, bring it back to us. But all we ask is that it doesn't have to be a full shoebox, but bring us a shoebox full of wires and we'll call it a good trade.
Yeah.
Uh, I don't know if anybody's going to want a VCR, but we could probably not
They
cut the
do.
cord on a
The
VCR.
answer is that they do. We
Really?
get all the time because the most I hear is that I've already invested all this money into VHS and I don't want to switch to DVD. Or it's really the VHS and DVD combos that people are really asking for. But it's also my parents have all these wedding videos and they're on VHS. I would like to show them. And they're just looking for a VHS or player for the weekend. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
just to show someone something. We get calls all the time, and I'm like, yeah, $20, come get it.
Yeah. You can rent my trash. There you go. Okay.
Yeah, really, you really could just rent it out. That's a great idea. So as far as other great ideas and advice to people just getting started, this is, I guess, more of advice towards like the backyard urban miner, someone who probably doesn't have a warehouse or doesn't have employees and is not trying to scale, but they got a garage full of electronics. What kind of advice would you give them, someone kind of with no clue where to start? What's one piece of advice you think you'd had early on?
Oh, I've got several. One is if you're helping someone by picking stuff up from their business or from their home, take a look around. There is probably a wire under
Mhm.
a stack of paper. And what about that? What about that? What about that?
Mhm.
That's probably thousands of dollars that we found over time with businesses who we went in for three or four computers, but we just
Mhm.
happened to notice something else in the corner.
Right.
So asking, I think, is it never
Yeah,
hurts
or
to ask.
being aware of other opportunities, and opportunities that can come in physical form, like more wires, and knowing where the value lies. Wires are not going to keep your business growing, but it will cover a light bill, it'll cover your
Yeah,
cable bill, it'll cover your insurance. It all adds up. I don't know if you ever watch eWaste Ben on
yeah,
YouTube. He's always like, it all adds up. And it's so true. He keeps these little tiny things, throws it in a box, and eventually he's got a huge, massive box that it's going to pay him out to $5,000. It just takes a little time, but yeah, I mean, that's good advice to just be aware you're there to help someone. So you're already there for a good cause. You already know that this industry is a waste industry where you're profiting from people's waste, right? So you're getting rid of their waste. You're able to make money. Why not look around? Because there's definitely a lot more waste in most cases where it came from. There's probably a lot more. A separate thought, but I'm at this section in the book that I'm working at, and I'm really diving deep into the history of waste and how it came about as kind of like a Soviet arms race. Like we had to look like our GDP was growing because we were like, it's basically democracy versus communism. And we had, in every way, shape, and form, we had to show that democracy was way better than communism. So we didn't lose any more countries to communism. And so part of this was like, just make stuff, just like constantly make stuff, constantly just spit it out there, spit it out. Doesn't matter what quality. So we moved away from this high quality, like last a lifetime hammer to like this one you find that'll last a couple swings, like this whole thing. And the amount of waste that we have created as human beings now exceeds the amount that the earth has made naturally. This is our clothes, our hammers, our computers, weighs more than what the earth is able to produce in plant, animal matter, any kind of biomatter. It weighs more. And I'm just like, oh God, that hurts my heart. You know what I mean? But
yeah.
it also piques my interest as an entrepreneur. Like that's an opportunity. That waste's got to go somewhere.
Oh yeah.
And if we can recycle it, and like recycle doesn't mean melt it down and sell it back. It can mean melt it down, but it doesn't always. Most of the time, it means, oh, here's a part that I need out of it I can use again. Here's a motor. Here's a ram stick, recycled to the market.
Yeah.
But anyways,
I had a guy this morning say it to me. I'm not a tree hugger, but
yeah,
and I hear that a lot. I guess maybe it's well, it's the atmosphere everywhere right now. It seems one
yeah,
side of the political spectrum or another, and I think everybody can get behind the idea of recycling e-waste now or any kind of waste
sure,
because when it comes to the computers, here we are, we fly halfway around the world to dig up a bunch of stuff
Hmm.
to ship over here or ship to another country and put it into a computer. And then we bring it over here or distribute it somewhere else. And we use it for a very short amount of time. It could be 2 years, 10 years. It doesn't matter. That's just, it's tiny little blip. But then we take that and we shove it in the ground and we go somewhere else and dig it up out of the ground again in order
Hmm.
to go through the same cycle. And it's just dumb to do that.
It is
And
dumb.
expensive. So
Yeah.
knowing that we could save the environment, of course, but save some money, you know, carbon credits too,
Sure.
but this other stuff. Oh, speaking of carbon credits, somebody had the idea that what we did could be valuable enough to get carbon credits that we could then trade for actual money.
Right.
Anyway, probably another conversation.
It is another conversation because we technically don't qualify, but it's changing. And I'm trying to stay ahead of this a lot because hence the whole franchise. I mean, um, in mass carbon credits is it would be a great great way to grow.
Oh,
And the amount, yeah, another conversation. But to end on that, the best client in the world is the government. You want government clients, and I think that if the laws do change, which it looks like they're going to, there's a mass movement going towards, and it's all the patriotic kind of precious metals and rare earth metals and reclaiming a lot of these supply chains. E-waste is at the forefront of this. I think it's going to be a matter of 18 months before we see it, but yeah, I got my eye on it too. You see it, I see it.
you've made some good predictions in the past.
Yeah, I mean, like this whole podcast is to have a good conversation but it's for people to learn. People that are first getting started. If people want to add comments about what their best advice is, even better. But we're all trying to learn. We're all trying to be really good at this, and we're all trying to make money and do good for ourselves and our families and and the planet. And I really appreciate the time you spent with me today and sharing your story and your advice and your brain. And always means the world to me.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, you deserve so much credit for inspiring. And not just me, but
Thanks.
the other people who watch, I'm sure.